Report. Resident Evil 7 on iOS has earned Capcom $28,140 since launch. I'm sorry, is that supposed to be not a lot? Because to me, that's a lot of money. Welcome to the dog days of summer. Seems that every year between the months of July and August, between Summer Game Fest and Gamescom, there's this extended dry period of game announcements. However, this week there were 2 new game announcements. Splitgate 2 and Emio the Smiling Man. At first blush, I don't care about either of these games. Not my kind of thing. If they appeared in some sort of press conference, I probably would have shrugged and said, okay, next please. However, look around you. We're in the dog days. And upon close further inspection, you know what I learned? I respect these stupid games. Last week, Nintendo posted to their official channels this mysterious, creepy video. And it was doubly mysterious because it was accompanied by an M rating. What could they be up to? This week, the game was revealed to be, full actual title here, Emio the Smiling Man, Famicom Detective Club. And it wasn't revealed with some kind of longer, mysterious, creepy trailer. No, instead it was this, a 3-minute informative, creepy interview with the game's producer, Yoshio Sakamoto. Let me show you all of the gameplay that was in this trailer. This part, and then box art, if this counts. That's it. Coming to you August 29th. 30 years later, here's the third game in this relatively known franchise. That's a dog day announcement. I think it's funny this video comes out the very week that Masahiro Sakurai put out a whole video about the distinction between a director and a producer. Generally, what he would like us simpleton industry outsiders to understand is that, in Japan at least, the director shouts and makes the final call on all creative decisions, and the producer handles the business, manages the team members. He says you see producers doing interviews more often because directors are so dang busy and essential to their teams. But also, because Sakurai is special, because he is superhuman, he is a director who also does a lot of producing and also happens to appear in a lot of promotional material. But you must understand he is a special exception. You cannot apply that expectation to all directors, okay? So here's producer Yoshio Sakamoto, probably best known for leading the Metroid franchise. We learn that he is one of those producers who is actively involved in all creative elements of Emio the Smiling Man. So while Sakurai did warn me about this,
プロデューサーがクリエイティブに関わっていないとは限りません。むしろバンバンアイデアを出す人もいることでしょう。
I kind of feel like his entire video wasn't that helpful. Anyway, I gotta warn you, I'm about to be highly condescending. So he claims the intention is to go all out with the screenplay and animations. But once more, here's the only animation you see. I simply don't believe that they're going to come close to going all out. And I know I'm being needlessly rude here, but I truly believe that it's an interesting game because Nintendo is publishing it. I feel like Emio would have a hard time standing out amongst a regular month of visual novels on Steam. And on top of that, it's not like you're looking at a guy who's a known great writer. There's no recent evidence to suggest that Sakamoto has strong storytelling instincts.
Though you possess their DNA, you are not a Koha. Your physical prowess suggests that you must also possess Makin DNA.
Chat, I said this from day one. I bet Samus has some Makin DNA. Otherwise, this doesn't make sense. But enough being rude. I think it's interesting. I think as in unique. I think it's unique that the reveal of this game is really just this one man sitting there and talking about it. Here's the writer and producer of this game telling you he hopes you'll want to talk about the ending. And him saying that he hopes that you hearing that he hopes you'll want to talk about the ending makes you want to play the game.
お客さんたちのいろんな声を早く聞いてみたいですね。
Just seems like such an open, honest thing to say. What I see is a person who genuinely is just trying to create some sort of emotional response in the person playing his game. And so that's what's special about this. When you think of other Nintendo published titles, you don't think of them as creative expressions from an individual, but this one, Emio the Smiling Man, kind of truly seems to be that. And gosh darn it, I respect it. Splitgate 2 was officially announced this week with a well-made yet mostly unremarkable CG concept trailer. You see what I see. Splitgate 1 launched way back in the year 2019 on PC, 2021 on consoles. You might remember it as Halo with Portals. I was just watching their trailers from around this time, and really it just seems like they want to communicate Halo with Portals. It was one of those extremely rare cases where this small team and small game becomes enormously successful, so much so that in 2022, development of Splitgate 1 stopped entirely so that the team could build the game that fans deserve. The new game would be revolutionary, not evolutionary. It would be a shooter, it would have portals, and it would be built in Unreal Engine 5. Oh, and it would be free. Well, this week we learned that they kept most of those promises. I'd say the first thing one notices about this debut trailer is attitude.
What's the point of putting your life on the line if you're not having a little fun?
This man, as the cover boy, is so funny to me. Like, if that guy is scoring goals for your team at the Euro Cup, you probably love him to death. Otherwise, I feel like multiculturally, internationally, he's just an abrasive person to look at. The game's announcement was accompanied by a really good interview on IGN with the CEO of Splitgate's developer 1047 Games, Ian Prew. What's nice about this interview is that it gives you all the clues. After you read it, you understand entirely why Splitgate went with this new look. Prew loves lore, which is why he channeled his love of old Halo novels into the Splitgate 2 companion comic as a way to define art style, characters, and factions for the audience ahead of the game's release. He tells me the 3 pillars he wants his team aiming for are positive, sporty, and future. To their credit, the trailer does give me future, sporty, positive vibes, for the most part.
If you're not willing to sacrifice everything, then you don't want it bad enough.
But I think that might be a misassessment over what made the original game popular. Splitgate 1 did not have 2 million daily active users because of lore, but Ian's the boss. Ian loves lore, so yeah, there's gonna be a companion app with comics and quizzes, collectible digital cards, and other activities. But the story being told here is that there was a massively successful indie game that wanted to be something more, and they were given enough money to shut down the game they had to build the something more, the one that could compete with the big boys, and they're presenting it this week. And the way they're presenting this is to almost de-emphasize the one thing that truly made this game special, namely the portals. I'm not saying the portals are absent. They are absolutely present in this trailer, but then there's this heavy emphasis on things that are new to Splitgate, but you've seen many times before in other shooters, namely character classes with extremely familiar powers. There's even a moment in the trailer where you almost think something really cool is about to happen. It seems like this is the moment where they're going to show you their best idea. And it's just this. Whoa, you say. That rocket's a heat seeker. And to be fair, the scene right after that is a fancy portal jump. What I'm saying is that the simple pitch of Halo with portals has shifted to Halo-y, Valorant-y, Monday Night Combat-y, FPS with classes and portals, but also some other powers you're familiar with, like making walls. And the fun part is we know explicitly because of this interview that the reason for this shift in tone and mechanical complexity is this. The dream is to build the #1 shooter in the world, Prew says. That's what I'm gonna fight for. Forever. So that's insane. Quite obviously, Splitgate 2 will never be the #1 shooter in the world, but that's just a dream. I love it when people dream. I love when people are open and honest about their dreams. He's just saying it, man. That's what he's going for. He's shooting for the stars. And then he does follow that up with more realistic goals. I think, though, really, if we can make a game that all the Splitgate 1 fans love and are sticking around forever, but also broadening our scope so that the people who never got to enjoy Splitgate can enjoy this game as well, that's what success would look like to me. So he's saying success looks like getting back to that 2 million and maybe a little more on top of that. And I have to say that is also incredibly unrealistic. The kind of momentum Splitgate 1 had is really hard to get back after taking so much time off. It's possible, I guess, but really you just have to respect the goal. You gotta respect the team for having such brazenly open ambitions. As a wise, bland man in orange armor once told me,
victory becomes a choice. You either take it or you don't.
Think about that. Victory is a choice. Means that whenever a game fails, it's because they chose wrong. They chose to fail. Stupid games. And that's delayed input. Now, this is the end of the Shiny Shirt season, meaning we're about to go on a 3-week break. Delayed input will return Friday, August 16th. However, as always, there will be an in-betweener video in the weeks in between. Please look forward to that. Until then, thanks for watching. I don't like to be predictable with these things, but I think we all knew when we heard the words Splitgate 2 companion app that I would be downloading it immediately. One thing I've learned about companion apps, always allow the notifications. Welcome, recruit. Of course, you know me. Alpha Elo Splitgate Ace Extraordinaire. Sorry, no autographs. Up here's your profile. Gotta stand on your tippy toes to reach it. I think that's funny. You received a Rhinoc card. Fuck yeah. Yes, you earned your first card. You can check out cool facts on the back. Complete sets from different guest artists to unlock powerful card effects and earn unique rewards when Splitgate 2 launches in 2025. Cool. Want to earn your next card? Yeah, you are going to ace this quiz. New quizzes come all the time, so keep checking back to uncover more about who you are and what sort of Splitgate ace you'll become. What faction are you? Okay. What does this say about me? I guess Egypt. 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 Oh. Look at this. Go to carnival attraction. Test your strength or roller coaster? You know what's funny about this image is this one woman is clearly scared and her friend is like just, I don't know if she's being supportive or that kind of like condescending laughter. Like, ahaha, it's so funny how scared you are. Anyway, obviously I'm not strong. The perfect date night. Axe throwing. A board game. Video games, laser tag. Laser tag, favorite food with a hole in it. Do you think this is cheese in general or Swiss cheese? Obviously it's donut. Where do you spend most of your time at the gym? I guess I'm a squats guy. Choose the better superpower. What's the first guy got? What is that guy doing exactly? I'm picking that. What's the meaning of life? None of these. None of these. All right, here we go. Eros. You received Mira's card. Okay. Having trouble falling asleep? It's time to read a Splitgate comic. So these are going to be bad. Look at those abs. Man, those go all the way down. To be the best, by Hillary Goldstein. You're not catching me at my best moment, fam. I've got a great life, as you can see. I have it all. All the wives I could want. I'm entering the Splitgate Cup, and by this time next month, I'll be the first winner of an EGOTS in the last decade. Sorry, gotta run. Your mom just showed up. No, hold on, what the fuck? What's he gonna do to get an EGOTS? I'm entering the Splitgate Cup. Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony, Splitgate Cup? Alpha Elo is gonna get an EGOTS before me? These guys are talented. I received the Bolt card. That's a Spider-Man pose. Always good hanging with you. I can't have you on the team. Sorry, mate. You gotta get it together. You know, just get it together. Yeah. Oh, we riding hard today. Did you know? There's a logical reason for why Mira's hair is purple, but she doesn't want you to ask why. Am I a part of this? All right, so I've seen enough. Final review for the Splitgate 2 companion app 2.2.